because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. That's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Carrarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma! Welcome to another episode of Speaking Serie B. Il dado è tratto, les jeux sont faits, the game is done. Not really, because the playouts have been postponed and the playoffs are currently happening, but the regular season is over and some of the verdicts have been announced, have been published. Anyhow, we'll talk all about it together with 𝐏𝐸𝐭-𝐩𝐸 today with us from Spain. Jake, welcome back. I missed you last week.
Yeah. Thank you, Elia. Thank you. Yeah, welcome back. I mean, it feels, I was only gone for one episode, and I feel like so much has happened since then, because I didn't even get to talk about Cittadella's penultimate game against Bari that kind of gave them that last bit of hope going into the last match against Salernitana. And then, you got the last game, Cittadella obviously, spoiler alert, they got relegated against Salernitana. But then, even the bigger news is that Sampdoria got relegated in Castellammare di Stabia. However, as you said, there's a little twist. It's not over yet because news came out yesterday that Brescia is going to be deducted 4 points, and that would mess up the table, which would send them to Serie C while giving Sampdoria a lifeline against Salernitana in the playoffs. So it's a whole mess right now. There's really no timeline for it to be resolved. So who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, man, what a chaotic few days, let's say.
Indeed. So we missed you, Jake, but it sounds like you missed us as well. So welcome back. And as I said, a few verdicts have materialized, have appeared, but not all of them. So congratulations to Sassuolo, promoted in the Major League already from several weeks, to Pisa. That after all, they consolidated the second position with quite a lead on Spezia. So congratulations to the Nero-Azzurri as well.
I will say, I'm sure the Salernitana fans will not be congratulating Sassuolo for losing their last game against Frosinone, which would have, put them in automatic safety. So, they send their regards.
Sassuolo confirmed themselves. No, just kidding aside. And the other verdicts are Cosenza, that came to Spezia already as a relegated team, and now Cittadella has been relegated also. I don't know, it's up to you. Tell us about Cittadella and what happened in the last few rounds, or we can go through the predictions, and that will give you the base to tell us about Cittadella as you wish, as you prefer.
Yeah, I'll just say a few things right now. So I'm sure, Elia, you talked about it, the game against Bari. That was a game, probably Cittadella's best performance in the Ritorno leg. Probably, maybe even all season. Even in the first half when they went down a goal, they were still arguably the better team. And on the flip side, Bari were just really, really poor. And I mean, it was a very disappointing display for them. And, I think deservedly they deserve to finish outside the playoff spots. But for Cittadella, this was a really good response because at halftime they were mathematically relegated. So they didn't even really need a draw. They needed to win this game to give themselves the chance going into that play. Really, the spareggio against Salernitana, just given the two teams were neck and neck in the standings at the time. So Cittadella came back. They rallied back to win 3-1 against Bari. That was only their third home win of the season and broke an 8-game winless streak, I believe it was, at the time. Then it goes to Tuesday night against Salernitana. Now, I forgot how the table was exactly when this game was being played, but Cittadella were still in 19th place, Salernitana right above them. I think they were tied on points. And basically what Cittadella had to do was win, because if they had lost, if they had drawn, nothing would have mattered. They would have been down. If they had won, there was still a really unlikely scenario that even if they won, they still would have been relegated, but it was highly unlikely. So if they won, they would have been at least in the playoff. And it did not. I mean, it was a fantastic atmosphere, sold out Tombolato, over 7,000 fans in attendance. And obviously did not get off to a good start because, well, for the record, I did not watch this game. I was not able to watch this game from Spain. I did not have my way of watching, and DAZN does not work. So I was relying on updates from friends and the score thing. But 11 minutes in, just like the story of the season, 𝐸𝐻𝐻𝐾, I think his name is, scored just a unbelievable free kick into the top corner. That Castrati could do about it. It was 1-0 Salernitana, and then really the final nail in the coffin came 15 minutes from the time, Simi scoring off a counterattack, off a giveaway in the attacking half. So that kind of sealed it. But in that kind of condemned Cittadella to Serie, to Lega Pro. So
I have a quick question. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah.
In the past, you explained us that there were plans from Cittadella to develop the stadium. Do you think that it's also? I'm also sorry. Beside of the friendship and the collaboration with you, I'm sorry because Cittadella was a great example about how to create a project and lead a path with without spending too much, without having growth from the youth players. So it was a great example on how to conduct business in modern society, in modern football games. So it's kind of the end of an era. My question is, do you think that with the relegation to Lega Pro, and we all know how difficult it is to come back up from the Lega Pro, because only one team out of the three legs have the possibility to be automatically promoted, and then all the others are doing a playoffs that has almost 28 teams. It's unbelievable. So will Cittadella be able to continue their journey, their path, and will the improvement of the stadium materialize in light of the fact that in Lega Pro there is also much less room for business, there is much less money available for the team?
Well, good thing for Cittadella is that they're in a really good financial state, so they're going to have a smooth landing in Serie C. So it's, I mean, who knows in Italian football, what's going to happen next. But really, we could, I think, safely say that Cittadella is going to, will be in Serie C. There won't be any registration issues as long as they don't mess up somehow. But it won't be like another team that maybe has dropped down and they're really struggling financially, and they could be on the brink of Serie D or the fifth division. So I think they're in a good shape financially. About the stadium, I don't know much about that. I think the project will continue. Just because the director, Gabrielli, is still still wants to complete it. I don't know about the budget aspect, because you're right, the club will lose some money just given from a relegation, but they also got to look forward to the parachute payments that they're going to be receiving from Lega B. I'm not sure how much that is. I'll have to look into it, but that's definitely something to look out for. So it's definitely, maybe it will take a pause or two, but I think still that the club they've really built a good foundation over this last decade in Serie B. And like you were saying, Elia, I want to touch upon this before I forget it. Is like, I think you're right. It was Cittadella definitely set a standard for any club coming from Serie C or the lower leagues to how to build and set yourself
Stabilize
as
themselves and grow.
stabilize, yes, as a stable club. I mean, if you look at Salernitana, who were just coming down from Serie A, they went through like 3-4 managers in one season. Cittadella only changed their manager once, and that was even a historic moment. And
Right.
Salernitana has all these big money transfers coming from Serie A, a lot of international players, so Cittadella definitely is in a different type of situation in compared to those types of teams. So it's definitely, yes, I think maybe an end of an era, but even the vice president today said they have a plan in 3 years they want to at least return to Serie B.
So Cittadella will be back.
Speriamo
Let's
bene. And but the thing is that the thing that really is unfortunate is because Padova did get promoted this year, and I was really
we could have had a derby otherwise.
I really wanted a derby because it would have been the first time since I started 𝐵𝐸 USA that we would have had a derby, because the last derby happened in 2019, and so it's been a long time, and I really wanted it to happen.
On the base of these, let's remember who is currently dedicating their precious time to our content. Where can we find Città Calcio USA content? And of course, will you continue to create content around Cittadella even in the lower leagues? How can we start and continue to follow you, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll continue. That's what you got to do down in Serie C. So I guess Serie C should thank me for even spreading more English coverage to their league incoming. So, but yeah, you could Città Calcio USA, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and 𝐏𝐸𝐴USA.com for all the information. Currently, I have haven't been posting as much as of late, just because I've been very busy with traveling. So, but we should start to get going soon as the summer transfer window approaches. This is also a slow time of the year, right after the season. A lot of even the club takes a break to reflect and stuff.
So I just want to grab the occasion to say hello to our Polish friend. I can't pronounce his name, but Zurowski, I almost get it right, was following our lives from Poland. So thank you. Actually, not from Poland. He's originally from Poland, but I think he is Canadian, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. So thank you for being here with us again. And he writes, I'm sorry, Elia, but cheering for Fabio Caserta and 𝐼S Catanzaro in playoffs. I understand, no hard feelings. It is, the most important thing is that we are united by the passion for the game, despite our, in Italian we say fedi calcistiche, beside the team that we are supporting. So that's great. Thank you for being here with us. And we'll see what happens. We just concluded about an hour or so ago the pre-game live for our program Spazio al Prossimo, together with Claudio Pileggi of Passione Catanzaro. So if you want to know more about, what are the thoughts of fans and journalists about the upcoming game that will take place on Wednesday, you can find the content on our channel. Cosenza will be back too, writes Zurowski. Yeah, I hope the Wolves, they were a nice, they wrote a few nice chapters of these most recent years in the Serie B. So it's kind of sad. No matter who gets relegated, it's kind of sad. So every time.
Also for Antonio Palopoli, who is on this live many times, I've had him on his podcast. Right. I was actually on his live right after Cittadella got relegated on last Tuesday. So it was cool to talk and to, kind of explain the situation. So yeah, we'll definitely be back. It was definitely a season of not a favorable season for the underdogs per se, for Cittadella and Cosenza, the two how would you say, piccole realtà, like the small realities.
Piccole realtà, indeed.
In the second division. So, but all things come to an end, and we'll ripartiamo and come back stronger.
Indeed. I wish you guys well, of course. Thank you, dear Wojtek, probably that's how it's pronounced. You pronounce my last name perfectly. My first name pronounces as Wojtek, and yes, I'm Canadian citizen too. Yes, you see, I remember. Great. So let's carry on with our program. We won't be talking about what happened with Brescia and Frosinone, Salernitana, and Sampdoria, at least in today's episode. We will have at least another one episode before the end of this program as you know it. We have to see where Spezia is going to be playing next season, and we'll have to wait, of course, for the outcome of these playouts that have been postponed. Then we'll regroup and, of course, stay tuned. Subscribe to both of our YouTube channels to see what we'll be able to come up with for next season. So we'll have another episode where we're going to make a recall, basically, of the predictions we made pre-season, and at that point we'll have the opportunity also. Say that again.
Oh no, I'm afraid to look at that.
Me too. But it's gonna be fun, and in that occasion we'll share our impressions about the last verdicts of the Serie B league. What we can do right now, though, is to take a look of the results of the most recent round of the Serie B league, which, strangely enough, was the 38th day of the season, where the 38 games of the season, where we were recouping the 34th round. So we can take a look at that.
Basically the 39th day of the season, if it felt like.
Yeah, good point. Let's see if I have it prepared. Hold on, because if I do this, everybody's going to see the last results already. So I should try to hide the final result, but it was kind of a strange situation. So let's see. What happens. Share screen, and here we go. So what we have here, these are the games of, let's see if you can see clearly. Yes, of the 34th round, which wrapped up this regular season of the Serie B league. On the left here are the predictions, and the predictions we made after the 33rd round. So our original predictions. These are the actual results, and these are the actual results after the games got played. And these are the predictions that we shared in the most recent episode, the previous episode of Speaking Serie B, are updated predictions. So normally this is your side of the program, so you can go through the results and read them, and we'll just take a look at our previous predictions just for the sake of record, if you're okay with that, Jake.
Yeah, man, this happened. Well, I feel like this happened a long time ago. It was only like 6 days ago. So there's a lot of 0-0 draws in this. I don't know if you noticed, but Südtirol Bari, that finished 0-0. Bari needed a win in that, but they were never going to get it, and thus ends a very disappointing season, but a very great end for Südtirol, who finished 10th, I think it was. So Castori working miracles there.
Indeed, 10th place, 46 points for Südtirol. You're correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Juve Stabia Sampdoria. This was a very sad day for Sampdoria, who this result meant they were officially relegated to Serie C. They started the day in the relegation playout spots, so they really only needed to focus on themselves to get the win to propel themselves. But as the night went on, they kept getting news from other grounds that Brescia were winning, Salernitana were winning, and then it was Frosinone was winning at Sassuolo. So it was at a situation where a draw was not enough, and they were currently in the relegation zone. So the entire second half, they were just throwing everything at it, at the Juve Stabia goal. The one really big chance that they had was Niang, who had the ball in the center of the box and wide open. He completely, scuffed a shot. It went straight at the keeper. So Niang just missed. So
Juve Stabia did what they could to let them win, but they weren't able to. Did they just say that?
Well, no, Juve Stabia did have something to play for. They had to lock up the 5th place. So I guess that draw did put them one step closer there, and they did have some good chances in that game. But overall, I mean, just watching those ending clips of Sampdoria being relegated to Serie C, I mean, you would have never thought that, obviously, who knows what's going to happen now with the the recent news of Brescia potentially retaking their spot and maybe Sampdoria competing in the playoffs. I don't know, but still just seeing them there, it's just quite remarkable. It's just just incredible. Like we thought for sure in these last few weeks that, okay, Sampdoria is Sampdoria. They're a big club. They have all these good players. They invested so much in the summer, and they have these players of quality that will just get them over the line, and they're just too big to go down. Well, here we are. They are mathematically relegated. It's
at least on the field, on the pitch.
That's why I said mathematically.
Right. You're right. We'll talk more about the rest as we'll find out more about it. So for now, this is the results of the pitch. Yeah.
Yep. So Mantova just needed a draw. They got a 0-0 draw. Huge congrats to Posanzini and his crew for the Salvezza. I think it was a very deserved Salvezza. They had their way of playing, and I think they finished the season without a home loss since February. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they finished the season with 6 games undefeated at home. That kind of got them over the line. So big congrats to Mantova, who confirmed their stay after being directly promoted to Serie B. Cittadella Salernitana, I was hopeful for this. You get a point for predicting Salernitana winning. This was a comfortable, I'd say, win for Salernitana. And once again for Cittadella, the thing is, I'm not really surprised about this because overall it is a deserved relegation for Cittadella. I think they made too many mistakes in the summer. Going from last season, from the 8th straight losses, I think something started from that point on where, something in the club changed, and the changes were not good enough. And I don't think they replaced Pitarello well. I think they didn't replace Baldini. They didn't replace Cassano or Branca. And ultimately, the last year and a half, their home form was really shocking. And this is the result. They get relegated. And I
wasn't enough to get Elio Capradossi to help him.
Capradossi, I think he played well towards the end of the season, but it overall just wasn't enough. And it's just I think definitely the start of the season really set the tone for the remainder, because you start off in Salerno against Salernitana 1-0 up in the 90th minute, and you end up losing in that dramatic fashion. That really, I think, sets the tone, a bad tone for the season, and kind of, because like a week later, you get the 3-0 forfeited loss against Pisa. Then you get, you get losses.
Right. Let's remember that
losses
too.
Against Mantova, in the last minutes, you get a 6-1 loss against Sassuolo, who eventually lets Gorini get sacked for Alessandro Del Canto. Del Canto's first game against Cosenza, a goal was disallowed in the 94th minute for Cittadella that would have won them the game.
And that mess ups, with the player's mind. So
yeah, and then they had a nice spark around Christmas where they won those 3 games straight, and then they beat Pisa against Pisa, against all odds. Pandolfi went over to the Pisa bench. He cuffed his ears, and unfortunately for Cittadella, they only picked up 9 points since that incident. They went from, I think it was 11th or 12th place to 19th. So obviously in the comment sections everywhere, the Pisani are greatly enjoying and mocking Pandolfi everywhere in his Instagram comments. But anyway, but about Cittadella, it's just, I think everything that went wrong this season went wrong.
Si è rotto il giocattolo, we say. The toy broke.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think it wasn't really comforting when Del Canto in the press conference said he didn't really think it was possible to save the team after the three straight losses against relegation opponents. And to be fair, I think that is a reasonable case. I mean, when you lose against Sampdoria, Reggiana, and Brescia without scoring, or with scoring really one goal, none of them from open play, I think for me also that kind of, I said it in the podcast a few weeks back, that I think this is the moment where it's over for Cittadella. So
you realize that it was the beginning
yeah,
of,
and
not the beginning of the end, but on the verge of something negative, because those were all scontri diretti with direct opponent that were fighting to avoid relegation themselves. So those points counted double.
Yes, exactly. So, unfortunately for Cittadella, I don't think there's any way that they could be ripescato, or that's how you say it in Italy, through this Brescia Sampdoria mess, even though they want to bring the teams to the 22 team league next season. So, but unfortunately, I don't think there's any chances for Cittadella to survive in this case.
Indeed. I'm sorry. That leads us to the analysis, let's say, of Sassuolo Frosinone 0-1.
Oh boy, this got a lot of fans angry, especially from Salerno and I guess Frosinone. Or no, not Frosinone. Frosinone. Oh wait, no. What am I thinking? Yeah, I guess only Salernitana fans were upset about this because, well, we were thinking that Sassuolo were gonna play for the records and still put their foot on the gas. Well, it didn't look like it, because they did roll out a B team in this. They rested all their starters, and they lost 1-0 to Frosinone, which was a huge win for Frosinone after that loss in Palermo. We both thought this was going to be a draw. It did not happen. So
that allowed Frosinone to gain the... What is it?
Yeah. So, Elia, I know you love conspiracies, so I won't talk you into it. So,
No. Again, it's too early. Let's wait for the development of these 4 points penalization to Brescia, which would allow Sampdoria to play the playouts instead of Frosinone, because originally the playouts should have been between Frosinone and Salernitana, which would have forced one of the two teams to do the double drop back from the major league. So too early to call out a conspiracy. When I did see that Sampdoria was relegated on the pitch out of the results, I said, I'm not happy to see Sampdoria relegated, because it's an historic team with a great past, and it's good to have these rivalry for Spezia as well. But at the same time, I was happy because it would have proved me wrong on all my conspiracy theories. So now that what is happening is currently happening, and we don't know how it's going to end, then I said, probably I was right. So, and I don't like to be right in these about these subjects, but we'll see. Let's carry on with the analysis of these previous predictions and see how our game ended. Palermo
Carrarese. Palermo dropped to 8th place, which set up their playoff against Juve Stabia. Carrarese had already been safe. Congratulations to them. I completely forgot to congratulate them. So this was kind of a fun match for them. They ended up with a 1-1 draw in Palermo, which does us no favors, as we both get 0 points for this. But I do get a point for predicting Brescia beating Reggiana. This was supposed to be another scontri diretti like Cittadella Salernitana, but Reggiana had 4 straight wins to end the year, which eventually pulled them out of the fire and put them in the safety zone. So they had nothing to play for in this game, and Brescia, with more determination, more motivation, got the 2-1 victory, which gets me a point for this. And at the moment, saved Brescia, but once again, we will see what happens in the next few days. It's quite incredible that Brescia finished 15th, because they did not win a home game until September. Until that game against Reggiana, they had not won a home game since September. And they've been really, really bad for really the entirety of the seasons. They typical Cellino team. They went through coaches, and they went through these rough patches, but I mean, I guess they got enough points
for now. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
so
on the table. Next
Spezia
game was
Cosenza.
Spezia-Cosenza. Yeah.
Yeah, so we both get a point for predicting Cosenza. This was being their last game; they had nothing to play for. Elia, I'm sure you could talk about more about this game, but did Spezia have something to play? Did they still have to play for the third place? Because I can't remember now.
So, first of all, surprisingly, Cosenza played a very good first half. Like, they didn't look like a relegated team, so they honored the game. And also Pisa honored the game playing with Cremonese. So Spezia was condemned to win, to maintain the third position, subject to the result of Pisa Cremonese. With the Cremonese loss, we could have also lost. But should Cremonese had won that game, we would have had to win that game. So we were keeping an eye on what was going on in Pisa, and Spezia had to win to comfortably maintain the third spot and all the bonuses, the privileges that come with it. Also, in light of the fact that in the previous game, in the game of the 38th round, Spezia Cremonese, Cremonese schooled the Eagles, winning heavily, with Spezia performing very. The second half of the game was a good game, but in the first half, Cremonese dominated, and in the first half of the game with the lead of 3-0. So the Spezia Cosenza game was more to prove that the Eagles can approach that our Eagles can approach the playoffs with some certainty that we missed in the last games of the season. So it was a 3-0, and then Cosenza was able to score, if I'm not mistaken. But solid performance by the Eagles. Of course, there is no comparing Cosenza, already relegated, with Cremonese. So the beginning of the last leg of the championship with the playoffs is completely different. It's a whole different game.
Moment of
and
truth.
We'll see. Say it again?
The moment of truth for Spezia. This is it.
Indeed. We don't know what to expect, also in light of the many injured players. We are without Salvatore Esposito for sure until the final games, should we reach the final games, because now we have Catanzaro on our way, and we'll play them in Catanzaro on Wednesday, and then on the 25th, which is Sunday. So nothing to add to this game. Alvini was very well received in the Alberto Picco, especially from the press. And we really appreciate, and we have a very good memory of the man, much less of the coach, which wasn't able to avoid the relegation of the Wolves, also in light of a 4 points penalty for the Cosenza team. Modena-Cesena, Jake.
Modena-Cesena. This concludes another kind of similar to Bari, very disappointing ending for Modena, who was a very difficult team for a lot of really the entire season. Really was a solid mid-table team, and towards the end they got wins in Pisa, they got wins in Bari. And you really thought this could be a really tough team to play in the playoffs, and then they start losing games, and they lost this game. I mean, they had no chance of making playoffs of this game regardless. It was actually Cesena who had to win. We both get 2 points. I don't know why we get 2 points for predicting this. Elia, you may have made a little mistake there, but
sorry.
Yes,
it seems strange that we've improved. Too many twos. Sorry. Thank you.
It's all right. No,
it doesn't change the final result, but yeah,
we still get a point for predicting Cesena to beat Modena. But yeah, for Modena, they end the year with 3 losses in their last 4 games, and another draw against Brescia, which did them no favors. So really disappointing end of the season to Modena, who I thought could really be a difficult team to play against. I think they would have definitely given Juve Stabia a much difficult time than Palermo, or maybe even Cesena.
Interesting the fact that the Palermo fans are basically striking against the team, or were, because now for Palermo the championship is over. The playoff runs ended with the loss with Juve Stabia 1-0. But yes, they wouldn't have supported the team no matter at what stage they would have arrived during the playoffs. So that was interesting. And I would like to highlight this comment of Wojtek, of which I appreciate the sarcasm. He writes, who do you guys think will get points deducted if Sampdoria loses to Salernitana? But no, seriously, because
No, I saw a funny thing. It was like every team gets deducted points, and Sampdoria leapfrogs us. Pisa's in the playoffs, Sampdoria to second place.
Unbelievable. No, because seriously, at this point, again, it's too early to say. I don't want to voice everything that I'm thinking about, but it seems clearer and more clearer that the game is rigged, and you reach a point where you have so many debts that instead of being liabilities, they become an asset because the creditor won't let you fail. And this is not the sport that fans are attracted to. It's ridiculous. Sports are nice and enjoyable and fun to watch as long as you let them play and you let the results unfold on the pitch. Once that financial influences or political influences get involved, then we lose all the romanticism that the passion is based upon. My humble opinion, Jake.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will say that it is a bit strange that this news came out basically 24 hours before the playoffs were scheduled to play, and apparently it's for I mean, I haven't really read a lot into it. I've been just seeing all the headlines and stuff, but Brescia, this is a tax thing or a payment issue dating back to February. So, I unless it's something part of the rules where they're, making sure all the financial stuff is good. I'm not sure why they would come out with this news literally, 24 hours before the playout is supposed to be played. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, we're just gonna have to
don't quote us on these. We're just sharing our opinion. Then, of course, to you guys to make up your mind on the subject. So, with the victory of Pisa at the Arena Garibaldi at the expense of Cremonese, game ended 2-1. They honored the game because Pisa was already automatically promoted to the Major League, and Cremonese has still something to fight for, trying to reach Spezia and how do you say, besieged the third place from Spezia. Besieged, does that make any sense?
I
Snatch,
so.
like
sure.
in the night, like steal the third place from Spezia, was being comfortably maintaining it for the majority of the season. So 2-1, this, none of us scores any point, and the final score for this round is 4-4, which improves both of our averages and leaves the final result. We'll find out in a second. I just would like to highlight that I score more points. 6 would have been my record when I don't analyze the circumstances around the teams. Because after the 33rd round, I would have scored 6 points. But, this is irrelevant because then, a lot of things changed. And I would have been able to catch up 3 more points on you. But that wouldn't have changed the final result of our game. That sees you winning with 9 points leads, 152 for Città Calcio USA to 141 for Speziato. So congratulations. I prepared just these quick 11-second celebrations for you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Also, maybe I don't know, maybe we could talk about it, but maybe we could do more points predictions. It's going to be very hard to do it in the playoffs just because,
Yeah, and we've already lost a round because we didn't have the chance to do a live in between. So the next live, as we said, is going to be to analyze the predictions pre-game once that all the games are going to be ended. I don't know when that is going to be, because we don't know currently, as of today, when the playouts will take place. So again, subscribe to our channels, activate the bell, and make sure that you will be notified when we are creating the next English appointment, speaking Serie B, at least for this season. What are we at wrapping up this episode? What did we miss, Jake? What would you like to add at this point?
We should maybe preview the next, well, the semifinals, because the Wednesday starts the first leg and then Sunday is the second leg. So I don't think we will be having a live in between those. So
right.
Might as well just preview a little. So I guess maybe we could start with you, Spezia Catanzaro. This game also Wednesday it is in Catanzaro, and then Sunday it's the return leg at the Stadio Alberto Pico. Once again, how Serie B rules work. It's very interesting. So Spezia, since they finished third place, they really only need to tie on aggregate over the 90 minutes, or in the second leg at least. At the end of the second leg, at the 90-minute mark, if the score is tied on aggregate, Spezia would go through. There's no away goals or anything like that. If these rules are still applied, then I think this is right, correct? Because
I agree. That's the case. That's the privilege of finishing in third and fourth place. It allows you to have 2 results out of 3, basically. So with the draw, Spezia would be able to pass to the finals, and we have the bonus, let's say, the privilege of playing the second game of both finals and the semi-final and finals, should Spezia reach the final at home. So the home field advantage on the second game, which is considered the most important of the 2. As of today, these are the results. Previously, we saw Catanzaro winning at home 1-0 against Cesena. Catanzaro had the privilege to play at home because they were better positioned in the final regular season standing. And Juve Stabia Palermo 1-0. Even in this case, Juve Stabia had the privilege to play at the home field advantage for the same reasons. I must say that I'm not surprised that Catanzaro were able to pass the first stage, although Cesena put up a nice fight. They even gained the hit a post, the gain of penalty that Pigliacelli first intercepted, and then also intercepted the second kick of the penalty. How do you call it, Jake? La ribattuta.
Yeah, like the follow-up.
The rebounds.
The follow-up, the rebound attempt. Yeah.
So great performance by the estremo difensore, by the goalkeeper of the Catanzaro, and then King Iemello with a header was able to score the victory goal. After that, the first goal, always by Iemello, got I don't know, they removed it for offside, basically. While with Juve Stabia Palermo, I was expecting that, since Juve Stabia was a newly promoted team from Lega Pro, and Palermo is one of the most consolidated teams as far as history, as far as financial support, financial backing and all, I was expecting Palermo to go through. Instead, this is one of those results that allow me to renew my confidence in the game, because Juve Stabia is the one of the 2 teams that is approaching the semi-final. Salernitana Frosinone is the game that has been postponed, and we don't even know if it's ever going to take place, which leads us to the first leg of the semi-finals that will have Catanzaro Spezia, Juve Stabia Cremonese, and then the second leg of the 2, Cremonese Juve Stabia and Spezia Catanzaro. They will be refacing each other. In the first game, basically, Catanzaro Spezia is the one that has the advantages that Jake explained, while with Cremonese Juve Stabia is Cremonese that enjoys the same kind of advantages. It's really difficult to make predictions on these kind of games, although there are two-way games. There are two. The teams are going to be facing each other twice, but playoffs is playoffs. It's highly unpredictable. We consider it a lottery. I think that probably between Juve Stabia and Cremonese is the one that's going to reach the final. But between Catanzaro and Spezia, also in light of the results that we collected through the regular season, they are two very similar teams. everything can come down to an episode during either of the games. So I don't know. I think that Spezia and Catanzaro, honestly, although Spezia has the advantage of the bonuses for the position, we almost have the same probability. Probably, I would say, I don't know, 65%, 35 for Spezia, just to give Spezia an edge. That's my prediction.
Yeah, so Juve Stabia, like, okay, I'm sorry, Leah, but like, I would really love to see Juve Stabia be promoted. Just, what a story that would be coming from Serie C. I mean, this is really parallel to what Catanzaro did last season, coming up from Serie C, really surprising the league. I think finished the same position, 5th place. And they are playing against Cremonese, the team that Catanzaro eventually lost to in the semifinals. So this is a really, really very interesting dynamic and very, parallel into it. Will this be a step too far? I mean, who knows? I think Cremonese is definitely the favorite in this game, and they should pass, just given, they probably have more experience and more, quality on the field. But Juve Stabia is a very, very good team, and they're really playing with house money at the moment, because really no one expected this. They're the ultimate underdogs in this.
Indeed. I just wanted to add something to what you just said in light of what we talked about in the episode, in the live that we had an hour or so ago in Spazio al Prossimo. We mirrored the championship of Catanzaro compared to last season. You're right. Juve Stabia ended the current season in 5th place with 55 points. Catanzaro in 6th place with 53 points. Last season, so the previous season, the 2023-2024, ended with Catanzaro as newly promoted team in 5th place, just like Juve Stabia, as you said. But Catanzaro in 5th place last season had collected 60 points, 5 more points than Juve Stabia did this year, and 7 more points that Catanzaro itself collected through this season. So it's really interesting. I find it, interesting.
Yeah. So, that's going to be one to watch. I expect Cremonese to go through, but man, what a story it would be. What a party it would be in Castellammare di Stabia. And, it would be really two brilliant festivals down there going at the same time. If Napoli could win the Scudetto this weekend, and then Juve Stabia punches their ticket to the final, I mean, it would be a party in Naples. And if Salernitana could have saved in the playoffs, that would have been. I know they're all rivals, but still.
Despite on how it's going to end, because as we keep on saying, it is a lottery. I would rather have Spezia. Should Spezia reach the final, I would rather have Spezia face Juve Stabia than Cremonese.
Really?
Because during the regular season, we saw that we were able to dominate, probably also for the way the teams approach the game, because of the individualities. We won both times in La Spezia and in Castellammare di Stabia, 3-0 in Castellammare di Stabia, while with Cremonese we were only able to draw, and we lost at home really heavily, especially the first half. So maybe the players will also have some like ghost in their mind of facing two teams so different and so different.
Well, let me wrap up by giving a few things about the Catanzaro Spezia. Now, this is a very, very difficult game, and dare I say, whoever wins this game, I think, is going to be promoted to Serie A. I don't even know what I'm saying at the moment, but it really is two really strong teams, and two teams that loves to draw a lot. So this game, I think, will be decided very narrowly. I don't think it's going to be a blowout or a blowout score line. This is going to be a very difficult game to predict. And if Catanzaro can defeat Spezia in Catanzaro on Wednesday, they really only need a draw, and they've shown that they could win in La Spezia. Back in February, I think it was Pitarello getting the goal in at the Pico. So this is definitely very doable for Catanzaro. I wonder, from a Spezia point of view, I think this may have been the worst scenario to be playing in the semifinals, because would you rather play Juve Stabia, Cesena, or even Palermo, given the situation Palermo is in right now? Catanzaro, they're a really tough team to play against, especially they have 𝐏𝐨𝐬𝐭, King 𝐏𝐿𝐻, as you said,
Right.
in this. So this is definitely whoever wins this, I think, is going to be, maybe, I know Cremonese is probably going to be the favorite in the final if they play Catanzaro, but you wouldn't want to count them out. But interesting to hear your thoughts about that, Elia, on Catanzaro possibly being maybe even more difficult to place against Cremonese.
So approaching the playoffs, I've always said that the most uncomfortable team for me, because of my beliefs, would have been Palermo, in light of all the individualities that the squad is made by, although they prove themselves not to be a solid enough group, and in light of the financial backing and the political backing that Palermo has, which proved not to be enough. Then, respecting everybody and fearing no one, the second most threatening team I've always considered to be Cremonese, and they proved themselves to be the case, winning in La Spezia with such a dominant performance, especially in the first half. The third of these teams, I've always considered it Catanzaro, also because last season they've been protagonists of a surprise performance, but this season they are much more aware of themselves. They consolidated the squad. Yeah, probably they lost Van de Putte, who is not performing as well as he was performing in Catanzaro, now that he's playing with Cremonese, if I'm not mistaken. But they got Pittarello, who scored with Spezia. 𝐏𝐿𝐻 is unbelievable. 17 goals scored for him, just like for Francesco Pio Esposito. And then we also have to notice that Catanzaro is coming to this game after 2 losses, 1 draw, 1 victory, and 1 draw. And also Spezia has been a lot of ups and downs results. So they're not in the best condition, either of the teams. It's a very long championship, and we have a lot of injured players. For sure, Salvatore Esposito is not available for both of the teams, both of the games with Catanzaro, and is the maestro of our midfield. Bandinelli is a maybe. Rezza is a maybe. And of course, Sarr has been injured for a long time. Soleri is injured for a long time. So we can only hope that the talent and the power of Francesco Pio Esposito will be not enough, because he doesn't play on his own. But him, together with Lapadula, who proved himself to be a real leader, will be able to make the difference in these final games. It is literally impossible to predict the outcome of these Catanzaro Spezia and Spezia Catanzaro. And yes, it's a semi-final that has the perfume of a final, as you said, indeed.
Yeah, well, this kind of wraps things up. And I think the next time we talk, we will be predicting the final, because one week from today, we will know who will be facing off in the final. Will it be Spezia? Will it be Catanzaro? Will it be Cremonese and Juve Stabia? One of those teams playing. Maybe Spezia, maybe Catanzaro. So we will see. It's gonna be fun. This is a very exciting time of the year.
Indeed.
Well, for neutrals, not supporting the teams.
Right. So thank you very much for being with us. And as Jake said, we'll see you next week. And we will continue to be speaking Serie B. Thank you, guys.